Here's your smart fact of the day.
Haven't you wondered how many visiting faculty actually are part of the whole equation in any management institute, as in the percentage of visiting faculty to total number of faculty that exist? Well, I've always thought that it's probably close to about 30% or 35%. But then I saw data on ISB, which is like a top rung management school in India. And deliberately, by the way, as part of their design, they get 55% of their faculty as visiting faculty. Isn't that interesting? Welcome to Smarter with Sid. In today's episode, what we are trying to figure out is when you should be a visiting faculty and when you should not be a visiting faculty, and what are the benefits of being a visiting faculty. So, all things visiting faculty. Let's go. So, what's the context for this particular episode? There are two. One is a very personal one. Obviously, I started off by being a visiting faculty. I'm not a PhD or not a typical academic who's gone the academic route. I am an industry professional who started off as a visiting faculty first in my home city of Pune, then started moving all across the country and then all across the world, right? And it was not just as a visiting faculty, I became an adjunct and then I became a full-timer. And so I've kind of alternated between these roles and I've been very happy and pleased with all of these roles. But I'm now putting my visiting faculty hat on and trying to figure out, is there something to look forward to if you are contemplating becoming a visiting faculty yourself? When should you become a visiting faculty? That's another question. And when you shouldn't. Yeah. And another piece of the context is there are many people who ask me this question. So many people who ask me this question. In fact, I had made a specific podcast on how should you think about being a visiting faculty, somewhat similar. But today I'm going to focus on the benefits rather than how you should actually try and become a great visiting faculty and what you should be doing. But funnily enough, a lot of the people who ask me how to become a visiting faculty are my own students, or rather my ex-students who are now industry professionals and want to give back to their institute. So this is the context. And I'm trying to explore this topic about the benefits of being a visiting faculty and when you shouldn't. So first, let's figure out when you shouldn't be a visiting faculty. A lot of us actually feel that we have so many aspects that we want to share with the general public. And in our minds, we've made our TED talk. We've made our conversation very clear and we've made our, points and stuff like that. And when you go in front of an audience, I've seen a lot of people who try to be faculty. When you go in front of an audience, you think it's a talk, right? And it's going to end there. No, it doesn't. It's actually way more than a talk. And firstly, try and talk for about an hour or an hour 15, or try and have an interactive session with students, and you'll soon find that it's a tough thing to do, right? The second thing is maybe you have enough material for a talk or maybe a couple of talks, but to do something like a visiting faculty, or normal faculty, it means that you have to sustain an amount of material which is ungodly, even if it's like a 1 credit course, or let's say for 10 hours you have to teach. That means you need 10 hours of material and planning. I'm not getting into how to plan for that. You can check out my other podcast for it. This is more about the benefit. So let's imagine that these are not the reasons why you're doing it. Or also, one of the reasons why people do take up a visiting faculty thing is to kind of, show off to their network or to their community that, yeah, I teach, I give back and stuff like that. And while that is good, it's certainly a benefit. It shouldn't be the primary benefit as to why you do what you do. So then, is there any benefit of being a visiting faculty? What happens, right? What exactly happens? And this is where I'd like to say a couple of people come to my mind when they've taught for the first time. And in fact, they were reluctant teachers. I knew that they would teach well, and I'd called them over at Micah and they were teaching. And when they came out, they were almost like transformed human beings. Their energy was at a different level. Their entire, they were beaming, their faces were beaming, they had a different body language. And it was as if they're connected. And somehow intuitively, I had figured out that maybe these guys will find their passion in teaching. And it was something which made me feel really happy. But then I tried to deconstruct it as to, why did I feel this way? And what are the benefits of actually being a visiting faculty? Is there any merit in being a visiting faculty? What do you actually experience, right? So let's imagine that you have done all your homework and you have prepared well for your sessions and you are in front of a class, and the class is also good. It's not like people just coming there for the attendance, but people who are genuinely there for the learning. And normally what I've seen is that especially in MBA colleges, people do come for visiting faculty, lectures. There are two reasons for it. One is a nefarious one, the other is a good one. The good one obviously is that you're going to learn something which is practical in value and something which is connected to the real world, which is a big draw for most students who come in. The nefarious value is, maybe this guy will be impressed with what I say in class and, offer me a job or help us in placements or whatever it may be. And both reasons are there. So let's not kid ourselves, right? Sure. But is there any benefit for the visiting faculty? Let's start with the primary benefit. The primary benefit is you have a bunch of thoughts, some concepts, some theories, some case studies, and you want to actually communicate them. Maybe you have never been able to communicate them to clients. Maybe you have never been able to communicate them to your own bosses or peers or your network. Students are a wonderful ground for you to test your ideas, your concepts, your theories, your frameworks, etc., and get instantaneous feedback. You will soon know whether you know your own concepts well, because when you're explaining them well, that is when you know them well, right? So you will immediately get that feedback. The second thing is you will know what is landing, what is working with people, and even students who are eager to learn from you. Okay, they're probably the most forgiving audience. So one, what is landing and what is not landing? Okay, this is not working. I need to kind of explain it better and stuff like that. And especially if you take more than one class, if you repeat a class in some other institute, or if you take a class in some other semester but has the same material, you will find that you become better at communication and communicating your own thoughts, your own ideas, and stuff like that. It is an incredibly empowering practice to do that. The second is the amount of learning that you get. My God, because of the interactions, especially if you keep your classes interactive, what you will see is that you will throw something at your audience, which is the class, and kind of strange, innocent, well thought through, amazing, out of the box ideas that you will get back will make you think, will make you understand that, oh, wow, I had never thought of this connection before. And how about if I connect this with that and stuff like that? And just magic tends to happen. You get rejuvenated because of the fact that you're having a live audience which is interested in the pursuit of knowledge for that subject, rather than judge you for something which is like an evaluation. Oh, should we take this guy on, or should we take? So it's less competitive. Of course, you're being judged by students, and if you don't know your stuff well, you're going to be judged really badly, right? But going beyond that, it's less competitive, and the kind of interaction obviously helps tremendously. The third is a very different reason, and I think this is the best one of them all. It is just that you give yourself a break when you go and teach, and it is like a paid holiday. Because, of course, I mean, it's not like a 5-star. You are going to rough it out, maybe living near a student's hostel in the institute and the rest of it. The reason why it is a paid holiday is you will get paid for it, which you might use to take your family out for a holiday. But jokes apart, you're getting a break for your mind. You're opening up and you're opening out and just connecting to the young energy around you, which is, mainly positive and mainly completely different, is going to be such a relaxation. And not only will it be a relaxation, but you are going to be connected with people who are going to come into the workforce, and also people who are young enough to determine various trends which is already happening. So you will be connected with the Gen Zs and the millennials, maybe, and maybe the next generation that comes through. It'll keep you young, and not only will it keep you young, it'll keep you honest to the marketplace, because that's the marketplace that you might be serving for a long time in your career. And when should you actually become a visiting faculty? I think when you have your own perspective. And that is a very difficult one to say. It's not as if like, oh, you should have 5 years. Or I started teaching when I had 3 years of experience, but I had a perspective, and I could share that perspective with my class and hold their attention. So you need to be really strong. And for that, listen to my other podcast, because that will tell you on how to judge whether you're a good visiting faculty or not. I hope you like this episode of Smarter with Sid. Yeah. I hope you find this useful if you're contemplating becoming a visiting faculty, or you can share it with somebody who's trying to become a visiting faculty. Do like and subscribe to this podcast. It does help me a lot. It does help with the motivation that I have for doing a podcast like this, which is over and above the work that I do as a teacher. And hey, I'm a professor, so I'm the traveling professor on LinkedIn and on Instagram. Do connect with me over there. And if you like podcasts like these, stuff like this, just connect and figure out all the stuff that IVM's got for you. On that happy note then, on that happy note.